The crystalline palace of Andromeda 7 gleamed under three suns, its translucent spires reaching toward the cosmos like fingers grasping at eternity. Within its grandest chamber, Queen Zathera of the Luminary Empire stood before her daughter, Mia, with an expression that would have seemed stern to most species, though her bioluminescent skin pulsed with maternal concern. "The time has come," Queen Zathera announced, her voice resonating through the chamber like a chorus of bells. "You must choose." Mia, barely 16 cycles old by human standards, looked at the 5 emperors assembled before her. Each represented the pinnacle of galactic power, wealth beyond measure, and influence that stretched across star systems. There was Emperor Vorgon of the Titanite Dominion, whose exoskeleton gleamed like polished obsidian. Beside him stood High Sovereign Kelvax, ruler of 700 worlds. The other 3 were equally impressive. Conquerors, commanders, beings who bent reality itself to their will. This was tradition. After the death of the king consort, the heir must choose a new father figure from among the galaxy's elite. It was politics. It was survival. It was the way things had always been done. Mia's violet eyes, inherited from her late father, scanned the assembled emperors with practiced disinterest. She had studied each of their profiles, memorized their accomplishments, understood the strategic advantages each would bring, but her gaze drifted past them, toward the corner of the chamber where a figure in gray coveralls knelt, quietly cleaning the intricate floor panels. Leo looked up briefly, caught her staring, and offered a small apologetic smile before returning to his work. He was the human janitor, employed by the palace for the past 3 years. Humans were still a novelty in this sector. Their planet had only achieved faster-than-light travel 2 decades ago, and most galactic citizens considered them primitive curiosity pieces at best. "Daughter," Queen Zathera prompted, her patience beginning to wear thin. "You must decide." But Mia wasn't looking at the emperors anymore. She remembered the day 6 months ago when she had discovered the palace garden in disarray after a diplomatic incident. While ambassadors argued and soldiers postured, it had been Leo who stayed behind to repair the damage. She had watched from her balcony as he carefully replanted each bioluminescent flower, taking hours to ensure every root was properly settled, every petal unbruised. She remembered finding him in the library at midnight, reading ancient luminary poetry by the light of his datapad, teaching himself her language through texts most scholars found impenetrable. When she'd asked why, he'd simply said, "Your culture is beautiful. It deserves to be understood." She remembered the morning he'd found her crying in an alcove after a particularly brutal etiquette lesson, her confidence shattered by her tutor's harsh words. Leo had sat beside her, not too close, respectful of protocol, and told her about his own daughter back on Earth. "She's about your age," he'd said softly. "And I tell her every day, being perfect isn't the goal. Being true is." Emperor Vorgon cleared his throat impatiently, the sound like grinding stone. "Your Majesty, perhaps the child needs guidance." "I choose Leo," Mia said clearly. The chamber fell into shocked silence. Queen Zathera's bioluminescence flickered erratically, cycling through colors that indicated confusion, then disbelief, then something approaching anger. "That is not possible," the Queen said, her voice tight. "He is not even on the list of candidates. He is a maintenance worker." "He is more than that," Mia replied, standing straighter. She had her mother's backbone, even if she'd never shown it before. "The law states I must choose someone who will guide me, teach me, and care for the Empire's future. It doesn't specify rank or species." Leo had stopped cleaning. His weathered human face looked pale, his eyes wide with alarm. "Your Highness, I don't think—" "Tell them," Mia interrupted, looking directly at him. "Tell them what you told me about leadership." Leo swallowed hard, glancing between the furious emperors and the stunned queen. I told her that real power isn't about how many worlds you control or how many fear your name. It's about whether you can sleep at night, knowing the decisions you made were just, whether you can look at yourself in the mirror and see someone you'd trust." "Wisdom spoken by a floor scrubber," Emperor Kelvax sneered. How touching. But Queen Zathera had gone very still, her bioluminescence settling into a deep, thoughtful blue. She studied Leo with new eyes, seeing perhaps what her daughter had seen, not the uniform or the profession, but the character beneath. "These emperors," Mia continued, emboldened now, "they would teach me conquest. They would teach me politics and strategy, and how to hold power through fear. But Leo has taught me something none of them understand. He's taught me why power should be held at all. She walked toward Leo, who remained frozen in a half-kneel, his cleaning cloth still in hand. He stays late to ensure every corner of this palace shines, not because he'll be rewarded, but because he believes it matters. He learns our language because he respects us, not because he wants something from us. He fixes broken things without being asked, and he treats everyone, from you, mother, to the lowest kitchen worker, with the same genuine kindness. Mia turned back to face her mother, and there were tears in her violet eyes now, but her voice remained steady. Father taught me to value honor above all things. You've taught me to value our people, but Leo taught me to value being human, in the best sense of that word. Not the species, but the quality. Humanity. The chamber remained silent for a long moment, then Queen Zathra began to laugh, a sound like crystal chimes in a summer wind, growing from a soft tinkle to a full, joyous peal that filled the entire space. "Oh, my clever, clever daughter," she said, her bioluminescence now glowing warm gold. "You understand far more than I credited you for." She approached Leo, who scrambled to his feet, nearly dropping his cleaning supplies. "Leo of Earth," Queen Zathra said formally, "my daughter has chosen you. Do you accept the responsibility of guiding the future ruler of the Luminary Empire?" Leo looked at Mia, at this alien child who had somehow seen past every barrier of species and circumstance to recognize something essential in him. He thought of his own daughter, light years away, and what he would want for her if their positions were reversed. "I do," he said quietly, "though I'm not sure what a janitor can teach an empress." Mia smiled, her first genuine smile in months. "Everything," she said. "You can teach me everything that matters." And so it was that the Luminary Empire gained an unlikely counselor. The 5 emperors departed in various states of outrage and bewilderment, and a human janitor found himself thrust into the highest echelons of galactic power, armed with nothing but a mop, a kind heart, and an orphaned girl's faith in his character. In the years that followed, historians would debate whether it was the wisest choice ever made or the most foolish. But they would all agree on one thing: it was the most human.